where this comes, the reason that that issue became so important was because of the wire tower design, where the wire had a relatively short life, and you wound up having to replace it, and everybody was struggling to get ahead of the curve on that. Yes.
Could you address the thickness of plates, how that affects the performance of the unit?
My experience is that mass does play a part in the electrical consumption, and that's one of the things you're going to have to examine when you start out, is whether you want to go to high voltage or high amperage and risk a cascade scenario where your water is going to start gaining heat, and you're going to have to wonder about how to control the heat and how to dissipate the heat and so on and so forth. Or whether you want to go to a low voltage, low amperage system that will run cold. On that score, that almost always goes into cold fusion, which we don't talk about. But the low voltage, low amperage has some real beauty to it, where basically what you're doing is you're tickling the HHO out of the water instead of like trying to blow it out of the water with high volumes of electricity.
What about the spacing?
The spacing has been an interesting issue right from the get-go. You know, that where it really becomes important is where you're using a lot of plates, because what you're trying to do is run the whole engine on HHO. So you got a system about this big and going to have 100 and some plates in it. Well, you know, millimeters can be important, and circulation is important, and how to get the HHO off the plates and into the engine. All these things become important, and one way it's been addressed is, you know, to use the square wave and the PWM, or the pulse width modulator, to modulate the frequencies that are involved. But in point of fact, for the fractional addition model, which is what we're looking at here, you know, we're going to make a small amount of Brown's gas, and we're going to deliver it to the carriage, right? And what we're looking for is something in the range of, you know, 10 to 50% improvement. Well, a simple system is going to work just fine for that without the additional electronics. I don't know how far to go with this. Building the system is concerned. I mean, all the stainless steel, you can get all the stainless steel you want basically from Fastenal, and you can get all the other parts. Basically, we take pride in the fact that in our systems, we never used the part for anything that it was designed for. We found something else to do. So, I mean, like some of this plastic valve here, that's a lawn sprinkler part. We quit using this. We went to lawn sprinkler diffusers too. But originally we used aquarium parts as well, but those aren't particularly durable. Finally, we wound up looking for something that was just completely bulletproof. The last washer system that we passed around, that's pretty much in the bulletproof range. The plastic tops. Generally now, you can get the plastic tops at True Value Hardware. If they don't have them, you can ask them to order them. It is part of their inventory list. I mean, from time to time, we were causing shortages to arise in ball canning jars, right? So, I mean, here it was the middle of the winter, and you're in the Northeast and you're looking for a canning jar and you can't find one. Now, this isn't because everybody has decided to do canning in February, April, and March, or February, March, and April. And so I'm sure what happened is that, you know, Walmart, where they watch all these blips and trends on their computers with due diligence, they said, oh, look, it's March and ball canning jars are selling like wildfire, so now you can get ball canning jars at Walmart, you know? And I wouldn't be surprised to see plastic tops turn up there. For a while you couldn't get them, but you know, this is the USA. If there's a chance to sell something, people will sell it. So there's not much chance of running out of this stuff. Yes?
Just a quick, you said FASTENAL,
I think it's FASTENAL. But it's under fasteners in every phone book. Or of course on the internet. Yes. I never calculated it, but the number, you know, you think, well, the more washers you put in the jar, the more good off you're going to be. Well, that doesn't work out in practice. I mean, one of the nice things about it is that you can just build this stuff and test it, right? So, I mean, I think probably the maximum amount of washers we ever got in a jar was probably 16. I do remember having 8 on each side. But you hook it up to the battery, and now because it has more mass, it's going to draw more current. Because it's drawing more current, it starts to gain heat. And the heat gain turns out to be pretty uncontrollable. There's nothing you can do about that unless you want to add some electronics on to dissipate the heat, but now you're just wasting energy. Yeah. Yes. We have an associate in Jacksonville who experimented sufficiently with the neutral plates that we wound up filing a patent for it. But I don't, you know, the window that we're looking for in the supply of HHO, mixing it with gasoline, the range is so small that it isn't really necessary, as far as we can see, to do anything very elaborate at all. You know, all you need is, you know, 4 washers will do the job. 6 is six. Maybe you're getting into overkill on 2 terminals, a positive and a negative, but you know, you're going to be operating in a range of, you know, like a maximum of maybe 6 amps. So, you know, there just aren't going to be any problems. You're not going to be blowing fuses. Now, if you want to add a lot of electrolyte to the water, yeah, you know, the system will start to heat up and you will blow fuses. And you know, you could take that same 6 washer arrangement, you dump you know, a heaping tablespoon of baking soda into it, and you won't be able to keep it from blowing a 30 amp fuse, right? But you put a 1/4 of a teaspoon in a 6 washer system, and you won't be able, you won't blow a 6 amp fuse. So yeah.